My Hero Academia.
All right, nerds.
Brian's going to take the reins for this one. My Brian Academia has finally reached its final form.
All right. So this chapter picks up from where we left
Wait,
off.
what's the
with,
title of the chapter, Brian? You got to do My Hero Academia, chapter 360.
My Hero Academia, chapter 360. All right, so this chapter picks up from when Bakugo is getting his ass mollywopped by fucking Shigaraki. The chapter actually starts with him having his foot on top of Bakugo's head, and he's kind of just like, he's still continuing to shit talk. He's like, "Oh shit, where the fuck your boy at? Yo, I'm gonna whoop your ass. Yo, you remember when I beat your ass before? And this dude got mad fucking pissed off. Yo, I just wait until he sees this shit now." And he kind of
I remember.
He kind of grabs Bakugo with his toes.
That
and
was crazy.
And then he uses the same leg that he flung up. He brings it down and breaks Bakugo's gauntlet in the same swing. That was sick.
The level of disrespect.
Finesse and disrespect.
You ever pulled someone's hair? You ever pulled someone's hair with your toes? Ugh.
I seen a video on Instagram where like they grab their like Uber Eats delivery, like their food delivery, like with the toes out the door. They cracked the door open, grabbed the bag with their toes, and brought it in and shut the door quick. And I was like, wow, that's exactly what this shit reminded me of. It's way more extreme,
dude. And you know Shigaraki's
going to a Uber Eats.
Oh, and it's Shigaraki's feet out of everyone. Oh,
look at all of the little toes. Oh, it's so crusty.
And as he's talking shit to Bakugo, it kind of looks like he struck the fear of God into him or something. Like, I don't know what exactly happened here, but he kind of, I guess, put the image in Bakugo's head that he is fucking dead.
Gotcha, real quick. I gotcha. I'm going to show you. It's not what Brian is talking about specifically, but here we go.
Yeah.
Is it in focus?
Well, it's time for reality check. Katsuki Bakugo.
We only get the dialogue box at the bottom. But
so he really drives it home with the "you'll never be as big or as Deku," and Nejire comes in and she shoots one of her fucking shockwaves at him, but this dude, foul as he is, uses Bakugo as a fucking shield for the attack. So Nejire
pretty gangster.
Nejire had to kind of change the trajectory of her blast, but this opened up an attack for Sun Eater to come in from behind and drop a venom toxin inside of him. He didn't like that shit, so he just fucking exploded with a bunch of fucking
first of all,
body parts.
You missed this thing, Brian. Shigaraki grows a mouth outside of his shoulder and spits the poison out.
Oh, that's what that was.
Pathetic.
Yeah.
Like, was that supposed to be the setup? That was what this is all for? Like,
yeah, and then he explodes.
Venom, nigga.
I didn't notice that. That's crazy.
Yeah. Then he does this weird explosion.
Sick,
and he does this explosion where it looks like a bunch of fucking trees with fucking mouths and tongues and shit.
Fingers.
Mm-hmm. And then this also surprisingly opens up Mirko to come in and Mirio to come in and sneak Bakugo out. So he tosses him to Genus and he's like, it's just you and me now, bitch. And surprisingly, Shigaraki remembers Lemillion.
Stupid fucking face.
Yeah, I remember your stupid face from Jaku.
And as they're kind of talking, Lemillion is kind of explaining his job, like his role in this operation for some reason. I don't know why. He's just like, oh yeah, I kind of just message. I pass messages along. I get around if people need help. I'm the backup essentially, and he's kind of showing his versatility in this situation by being able to kind of phase through Shigaraki's attacks and his overgrowth. And Shigaraki's like, nah, bro, you just fucking suck. All this shit is gonna fall apart. And then Mirio's like, "Oh, I get it. You got no friends. you ain't never been to Applebee's with the boys." Which
Yeah, we're
I
gonna
thought,
address that later.
and then Shigaraki is actually stunned by this. He's like, "Huh?"
Man, what'd you say?
And Mirio's like, "Otherwise, you realize there's plenty worth keeping around." As he kind of blasts through and punches him right in the gut with Nejire's shock blast on his forearm, as he kind of phases through all of his overgrowth. And it looks like a pretty good blow, but I doubt it's going to be that heavy against this guy. Then we cut back to Best Jeanist after he recovered Bakugo from Shigaraki. And he's kind of like trying to tend to Bakugo's wounds. He's like, "Hey, come on, man. Give me your fucking arm. Let me fix that shit." But Bakugo seemingly looks like he's out of it. And Genus notices tears coming out of Bakugo's eyes onto his gauntlets. And this kind of leaves him a little sad, like a little upset. He's like, "Oh shit, man. Look at what we're doing with these kids." He's kind of like, "All right, come on, give me your arm. We'll get this shit figured out, but we need to kind of get you out of here or some shit." And all he hears is Bakugo muttering, "Right side, finger faint." And he is shocked that Bakugo is still in the game despite everything that's happening to him. And we get this big shot of Bakugo with a determined glare on his eyes while he's crying, ready to get back into the fucking fight. And that is chapter 360 of My Hero Academia. What do you guys think?
You want to go first, Josh? Or?
I think you should go first, Chris. If you don't mind.
Yeah, I really like this chapter. There's a couple things to dissect. First of all, I like what Nejire's doing here. I didn't need her to do like something cool. Like she didn't have to take down Shigaraki by herself, but I like her support. I like that she gloms her shockwaves onto people. I think that's pretty cool and utilitarian and pretty sweet.
Yeah, it adds a layer of depth to her ability that I didn't know was there. Because otherwise, it just seemed like cool spiral blast. You know?
Yeah, I don't need her to be the overall hero here, or just secret strongest one. I just need her
Oh
to
no,
like,
of course not.
do cool shit. Do cool things, just like Sun Eater.
That's cool shit. That's certified cool shit.
It's certified cool shit. So I'm happy with that.
New Jump City seal of approval. By the way, guys, leave a like.
Yes.
Comment if you're digging the podcast.
Yeah.
You should also sub. And then, hey, share it with the homies, you know?
Definitely.
But anyway, as you were saying, Chris.
Yeah, the big three, it's pretty cool. It's cool to see them in action together. I hope we get to see a little bit more of it before Bakugo gets back in the game. It would be cool to see them like do some cool shit together. That part's pretty cool. The stuff with Bakugo is very intriguing because it is obviously like Bakugo's not going to take shit talking lying down. I'm actually in the middle of my reread of My Hero. I finally made it. I just made it to the sports festival. It was the first time he met Monoma. And Monoma like trolled him so hard that like he stole all like Monoma's headband when he didn't have to. Like Monoma was just trying to stay in the game, but because he talked so much shit, Bakugo took everything from him. This is very much in line, it is cool. Like he's basically right now analyzing Shigaraki's moves. That's what the muttering is. He's like right side finger. He's feinting there, like he's just like studying everything. So he has an opportunity to strike. If you notice on that big final page, there's like these little sparkles everywhere.
Yes.
I think Bakugo's heading for an awakening.
Yes.
I think the boy is gonna go Super Saiyan, and I'm here for it. I love Bakugo. I remember like reading early My Hero, and just like he may have been an asshole, but he's like he's a very like fun character in that like he was an asshole, but he was also like the real fucking deal. Like he was
right. That it's worth saying. He wasn't like the kid from Yu Yu Hakusho, who like was that dickhead rival to Yusuke.
Yeah.
Urameshi. But Kuwabara was really kind of, he wasn't a joke, but you know, it took a lot of development before he got to a certain point where niggas respected him.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, I found out in the tournament arc, he still wasn't really respected all the way to the very end. So I'm kind of still perturbed by that, but you know, whatever. We'll have that discussion
Another
day.
time. But yeah, I'm excited for that, honestly. He is tight right now, and like his eyes look like explosions, like his iris, his pupils and shit.
Yeah,
It looks like there's a supernova going on in there. So I'm here for that too. I really like this chapter. I'm excited for what happens next. Hopefully we get a little bit more of the big three, but then like more Bakugo. I'm here for it.
right.
I don't think we have a break from My Hero next week either. Oh yeah, no, we don't. So very excited.
Nice. Very, very excited.
Yeah, but those are all my thoughts. I thought it was great overall.
Okay.
What do you think?
I guess I'll move forward. Yeah, I'll move forward with my thoughts. So, like I mentioned, this was my runner-up. I really, really liked this chapter, and you know, I actually found myself not enjoying it on the first read. I didn't, you know, I had the same kind of jaded, like, whatever, you know, but that's not true. I was really the thing in this chapter that popped off to me immediately was the action between Shigaraki and the Big Three. I thought their teamwork was well choreographed through the art, and it showed that these three are like, you know, they're a real team. It's not just three guys that can beat you up really good. These guys are a unit, you know, and that's what I expect. I'm expecting to see more of this in another chapter. I hope so. I think we could get a little bit more of this prolonged to where they're able to significantly like hinder Bakugo. They said they want Bakugo. All right. I guess I'll have a theory about how I think it goes, but I'm just saying I do want to see more of them fighting. They like we all know they're not going to beat him, but I want them to show out.
Yeah.
And have some more like high IQ fighting, so to speak. Mirio, I was sleeping on him before, but this fight made me realize, like, oh shit, like, without the quirks, he really does have a hard time against, Shigaraki would have a hard time against someone like Mirio, you know? I mean, most people generally would, but specifically Bakugo, since he has to make contact with you, and Mirio can completely determine whether you do or don't, you know? And even to take it a step further, you know, he says that I can get in close, sure, but on my own I can't deal hard hitting damage. I think he's kind of selling himself short, because I remember them breaking that down, that it's not just that he can, you know, make himself intangible. He's using the momentum and shooting himself out from these things, and that makes you that increases your velocity and your strength, you know? It's just that I guess Shigaraki is just that hardy, you know? He's just that much of a tank at this point. And plus, you know, I guess even if he was to fucking break his head open, he'd probably still be able to revive anyway with his weirdo mutation. So that's fair. I'm just saying that it kind of reminded me that Mirio is that nigga. I forgot.
Oh yeah, you did forget.
I mean, I told you. Yes, I told you last week, bro.
Yeah, you told me, but my point still stands. That it's not my fault that I fell asleep on the nigga. It's not my fault. It's the author's fault, bro.
He hasn't been in the game for a while. That's fair.
No, he has not. And that was completely his decision to do that. Like, not gonna linger on this, guys, because I want to continue to what I enjoyed the most about the chapter was the angle of Bakugo. I remember last week having a lot of anger towards the situation. Even though I said I did enjoy the chapter overall, I really didn't like what they was doing to Bakugo, because I just feel like, in my mind, I was looking at it like, yeah, I know Bakugo's going to have his moment of retribution. Sure. But what does it fucking matter? It's like, you deadass disrespecting this kid, and I already know he's going to get his moment. And it's going to be some quick, you know, turn the table shit. You know, I feel like I've seen the writing on the walls, and I was just projecting these like these realities so that I wouldn't be disappointed. But guys, I'm actually very excited for what Bakugo's about to do. I think it means something that on the second read of this chapter, I noticed that he was crying.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that when he seen him crying at first, what happened was that Best Genius confused that with the sweat. You know what I'm saying? Because sweat's his thing, like with his quirk, and that he wasn't actually crying like a bitch. Is that he was just still focused and like sweating from staying, his mind.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was kind of what they was implying, but I think to me, I think Bakugo's showing a level of emotion and almost vulnerability that we've never seen before. I've never seen him cry, and has he? And I think he's had a moment where maybe he got so frustrated, but like he got his heart broken just now. Shigaraki really shattered his world for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
It did, and what Bakugo did was decide to be exactly who the fuck he is, and say like, man, I don't care about none of what you saying. I'm that nigga, and I'm gonna figure out. I'm gonna figure you out, and I'm gonna figure out a way to blow your fucking mouth off your face. He feels some kind of way. You was right, bro. You was right how you was talking about it earlier. That that is Bakugo's character, man. He ain't just someone that talks shit, bro. He's about it, and that doesn't just happen because he wills it. He is a thinker. He is a strategic. He's an asshole, sure, but I'm looking forward to it. This is my theory. I think that the three are gonna hold Bakugo. God damn it, man. Shigaraki down to the point that Bakugo is able to pull off another big move, which is going to be his awakening.
Mm-hmm.
I think it has to do with him. Because remember, all right, sweat is one thing, but why can't it extend to other bodily fluids like blood, your tears, maybe mucus? Who I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do think I didn't actually think awakening when I first seen it, but there you go. I think we're gonna see that, and I think they're gonna fucking destroy Shigaraki to the point that he can't even adapt anymore, and all he's gonna have is his quirk for his Midoriya, probably.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're gonna really fuck Shigaraki up now, and I'm actually pretty excited. I'm excited. I'm excited for Bakugo. I'm not even mad about the adults because they've been trying hard, and again, these three students is not about the fact that they're overpowering Shigaraki, is that their powers are working in such a way that they can disrupt him.
Mm-hmm.
And they're strong. They fight alongside the regular heroes. Bakugo's been a prodigy. Best Genius and all these other guys are trying their hardest. Things are flowing. That's all I'm saying. I'm satisfied, and I'm excited. Let's go.
Yeah.
Those are my thoughts.
Quick.
I have one last thing, but you can rebuttal. Go ahead.
Oh, just a real fast thing. The sweat that Bakugo, it's apparently only from his palms, until now. That's why I think it's an awakening, because you see the explosions manifesting around him, which indicates that it may be blood, it may be tears, but it's also maybe the sweat is the nitroglycerin sweat is now spreading more less from his palms and more from his entire body. So he could be able to manifest it from anywhere. But there is a specific, up to this point, Horikoshi has specified that the nitroglycerin sweat comes from his palms specifically.
Okay.
But that's all. What was your last thing?
Okay. Let's go back to page 11.
Oh my God.
Okay. Mirio asks him, so why do you destroy, right? Shigaraki says, because the current framework has failed, right? Which then Mirio replies, oh, I get it. You've never had any friends. Otherwise, you'd realize there's plenty worth keeping around. I had mixed feelings about that statement. Okay? You two know very much how I feel about society in general, but for the listeners, I want to put it to you like this. Even though Horikoshi has been handling it in my opinion, a horrible, sloppy, and ignorant way. To me, it comes across, and it could just be how I perceive what Shigaraki kind of represents, but I just feel like it's almost uncanny. All right, Shigaraki says that the world is fucked up and he wants to change it. Everybody else, the heroes, aka the cast of the series, are at war with him and all these other bad guys to protect the status quo. Let's not get anything twisted. They all talk shit about a better tomorrow, a great day, but they had a period of time with All Might where they said that was a golden era. Like that was the greatest times in that society was starting to deteriorate. So that was on all. They was already feel like we've had peak society that they wanted to maintain. So it's not about the heroes saying that we want to keep making things better for people. They just want, as far as I've seen and what's been expressed in this comic, and you guys could express if y'all feel differently, but I take it as they want to protect the status quo and how things are. And you know what, guys? It was not okay for everyone. All for One ain't shit. Shigaraki the fucking psychopath. That goes without saying. But there were issues. And it's just like, oh, here comes Mario, like, oh man, you just never had friends. That's why you think the world sucks. But I can also look at it at face value, and he's saying, well, yeah, of course you want to destroy everything on the face of this planet, because that is actually what Shigaraki says. He's not saying he wants to reform things. He just wants to blow everything away because he's a sad edgelord weirdo orphan. Actually, I shouldn't have added the orphan. That's really mean. The orphans aren't inherently that way, but I wouldn't blame them if they did act out that way because their lives are really fucking terrible, especially in America. I'm digressing. And then like that, it was like a little bit of a peak of the same shit that kind of bothers me, but I can also see that as Mario like checking him like, bro, like you don't have anybody you care about. That's why you want to destroy everything. But doesn't he have people he cares about? I know he used to. Remember his hero team?
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, his villain team. He cared about them. He risked his fucking life to stop these niggas on the highway just to take his arm back for what he did to Mr. Compress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Shigaraki is.
I think he cares at least a little bit, but
Shigaraki is not exactly himself right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll say this. I think maybe that's a little reading into it a little bit. I mean, we haven't seen a lot about heroes necessarily talking about how they would kind of change society. But to be fair, in the last couple,
but they don't want to.
Well, and to be fair, in the last couple weeks, they've been literally dealing in a post-apocalyptic world. And I think like their priority was to make sure there wasn't rampant murder at all, like everywhere we go. I feel like the situation has escalated, and I think what Shigaraki represents is more. It's not necessarily that it's not a negation that the society was broken, but there's also extremists on the other side that aren't focused really on making the problem better, or more that they're just trying to destroy it. They're just trying to break the system because of it,
Here's my thoughts on the whole thing. So Josh is right on the fact that Hero Society does have some blatant problems in it.
Oh yeah.
During All Might's reign, it was said that it was the golden age, but it wasn't the golden age for heroism. It was just the golden age because All Might was there. If All Might wasn't there, it would look a lot more like this. But here's the thing. The reason why it's not a golden age of heroism. The reason why it's not that is because it was kind of like everybody wasn't really trying to be a hero. It was pretty much All Might doing the work for everybody. He was the one who was kind of upholding what Josh would say the status quo, essentially, was that heroes were the top of the food chain. and that meant that they all felt like they were indestructible, and it was easy for things to fall through the cracks. And Shigaraki was one of the people that fell down the cracks of the system because of All Might's existence. He was so great that everybody felt like they could just do whatever they could just do fuck all because All Might would just take care of it, right? So heroes weren't readily available to the public like they were supposed to be because they were lazy because All Might was doing everything. So essentially I don't like this Muriel line to come back to this. I don't like this Muriel line because it just felt so random. It felt so out of place. It's not the right thing he should have said to Shigaraki, but this was easily the worst part of the chapter for me too. But I do think that this next generation is the change that Shigaraki would have needed in when he was younger. These are the people that should have been heroes when All Might was around, because these are the people who are going to do the right thing or going to be there for people who are lost. And whether he knows it or not, Shigaraki is bringing the change that he wants. It's just not going to end with him being the on the receive, like the positive end of it. You know, he's probably not going to be the victor.
Yeah.
Because the change in the system is already here, and he just brought it about it faster.
Well,
essentially,
I think the if you want to call it the best thing Shigaraki did is that they're very aware of it now. Like the more sympathetic generation that is coming, you know, in Midoriya and the Class A and Class B students, they know.
That's yeah.
They know now.
I hope.
Well, yeah.
that's why
I don't think it's I'll be honest, Chris. I do not believe it's as automatic as you're making it.
I'm not saying it's automatic.
I don't think any of these kids have really challenged their point of view on that.
Uraka has.
they made it clear that, like, all right, so I think the reason why they make characters like Toga appear like this and have her have such a prominent role in things is to show the moral side, the moral argument of these kids and how they view the world. Because like easily they could just take her out and send her to jail and shit, right? But it's more than that. It's not just about defeating. It's about helping. It's about what's the real problem here. Like that's why Midoriya and what's her name? Uraka were having that moment where they were both thinking to themselves, fuck man, why how did this happen to her? Like what could we have done to like help her, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's automatic, but you know, they're
putting more of an empathetic twist on these kids, essentially.
And yeah, for sure. It's funny because like when you look back, when Horikoshi was like building this world, like in the early chapters, he makes it known that like there is this like competitive free market type of look to superheroism in this world.
Yeah.
You know, there's like agencies competing with each other to be popular, and you know they're doing it for profit to a degree. So yeah, there's always been an underbelly of brokenness to the society, 100%. Yeah, I don't know. It is funny because like I hear where you're coming from, and I think like there's definitely got to be that conversation. I would hope it happens like after the war, I guess, because I guess like you gotta prioritize like just saving people's lives at this point. You know,
right.
At the time of what was happening when all of these criminals were let out and just like wreaking havoc across multiple cities and shit, and they didn't really have time to sit down and have a nuanced conversation about all that stuff.
There wasn't any time given, so it's like I do understand that, but that is why I kind of make that point where I feel like I don't. Yeah, Midori and Uraka did have that moment, and even now as Uraka fights against Toga, her and at least 3 people, you know, for sure. Midoriya, Uraka, and Miss Toady. I forgot her name. Who you? At least they are starting to understand the level of empathy towards what we perceive as criminals. You know what I'm saying? And I say that, by the way, what we perceive as criminals, because the only thing that decides whether someone's a criminal or not is the law, and law is made up. You know,
Mhm.
it's a collective decision we make. So somebody could be a criminal one year, and the next year they could not be a criminal if laws change. I think that's important to specify. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's just to wrap up the thought. Um,
Also, we get a little bit of it with Todoroki, to be fair, also. Because he looks at Dabi.
Todoroki.
Yeah, Shoto.
Oh yes.
Where
Yeah.
Dabi's like, Dabi's not like, I'm gonna throw you in jail. You know, he's just like, we're gonna you may have to suffer consequences, but we're gonna watch out for you because
Yeah,
you're
there is sympathy being earned and
or learned. I
don't
think
know,
empathy.
learned, yeah.
I think empathy. Well, it's inherent within Shoto. He had it, and now Endeavor has it because Endeavor also is just like, I'm gonna watch after. He's my responsibility. I'm gonna like my duty from this. If we get out of this alive, my duty is to watch over the son that I broke. You know, and I think that's coming with Spinner because he's fighting against what is his own people in Shoji and in Ojiro and other what was it called, heteromorphs. Like the heteromorphs among the Class A and Class B. I imagine is what he's going to be going up against, and there's going to be commentary on that. I think the League of Villains is going to end up achieving what they wanted one way or another. It's just like kind of a shame that these people have to be kind of the example that society sets for what is an extreme. Like how many paths that could have taken that could have been different, and it's very parallel to the real world where like there are these examples of extremism and how different it could have been if one little thing was different. Yeah, it's tough, man.
These people wouldn't have existed and done what they did if it wasn't for the systems in place that these
Correct.
heroes are desperately trying to maintain.
Yeah.
But I will retract and say that I guess it is unfair to say that there is no hope, or that at least the youth, the next generation, isn't going to use this situation as a learning experience, because they had to figure like, yo, we thought shit was great, and that whole time we thought shit was great, little seeds was being planted, and soon as the big cloud of protection that was All Might disappeared, and that sun ray came down and made those seeds grow into the fucking situation it is now.
Yeah.
But getting another awful one is not going to help the situation.
Yeah, I think that's what it's pointing to.
Right. And I do have faith in that message. I guess I'll wait and see. I just, like, it just sounds so much like how people love to remember 60 years ago. Like, people think about it like with nostalgia, like, oh man, society was great in the 60s and 50s and such. And it's like, yeah, for which group of people, right? So, I'm very sensitive to that. And I got to remember that, again, this comic is not reflective of the real world.
Well, you
However,
can argue it is.
You can't.
These kids are also taught that heroes are great, that like this society is basically like, these are the good guys, like there's they're established pillars in our society. There are status symbols, maybe they're not brainwashed, but they are conditioned to believe that this is like the status quo has been good forever, and now they're just breaking out of that. I think that's interesting to talk about. It's interesting to think about, really.
I'm glad I was able to get those thoughts out. That's why, My Hero Academia is so divisive sometimes. I do kind of feel like I get lost in like what the message actually is, and then I get nervous, because of the whole the hero kind of similar to police aspect of it. But y'all know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
And I will probably have much more to say on the topic as My Hero continues to unfold.
All right. I have just one thing to really go off of right now, and it's I kind of just realized that Bakugo and Midoriya are kind of having reverse like story paths. I kind of feel like when the story started off, Midoriya was kind of the crybaby and everything, the person who got bullied, the person who dealt with cruelty, And now Bakugo at this point is the one that's dealing with the cruelty and dealing with the bullying that he kind of inflicted on somebody else. So it's kind of like a full circle, which is why I feel like it's interesting that the chapter is called 360, because it's like Bakugo's arc is kind of going full circle.
Wait, wasn't it chapter 360?
The chapter
Yeah.
is 360,
What's the title of the chapter though?
not
I don't know.
360.
Oh, you're just saying that like it's
Yeah.
it's like right, okay. Oh, that was very artful, Brian.
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting that, you know, in the first chapter we see Deku crying, and now 360 chapters later, in a full circle, and Bakugo is the one that's crying now. So I think it's pretty interesting to see that, you know, it's like Bakugo had all the confidence and Deku had all the emotion, and now Bakugo had to learn how to deal with his emotion to become like to really accept his emotions to become better. So I think this was a pretty beautiful way to end the chapter with Bakugo crying, because it shows that he's finally accepted that he's human. He's not a god. He's a human being who can be broken. And this is him finally kind of accepting that. And this is a really beautiful fucking chapter for me. Like it's such an inspiring moment for Bakugo to have, you know?
Yeah.
So that's all I really had to say about it. So that's why it was so close. It was such a close thing. If it wasn't for that weird ass fucking Mirio part, this probably would have won RGC for me.
Yeah.
But I really love this for Bakugo.
Yeah. That's a really good point, Brian. I didn't even catch that. That's kind of smart. I like the idea that, like, well, yeah, Bakugo is this bully, and you know, when you're a bully, eventually you're gonna come up against someone you can't. That's gonna bully you back. This is not gonna be nice to you very much. Eventually, you're gonna find yourself on the opposite side of that.
And the bully boomerang.
Yeah, and this guy was definitely the bully boomerang. Came back and called him he called him a minnow. He said,
What did that mean, Minnow?
Minnow is a fish. It's a small fish that like follows. You know, I think like, yeah, he
called him a runt.
Yeah, he roasted him. Just like he did
Midoriya. Why Bakugo was the one who's getting treated this foul. And it's because of that storyline. It's because this is the reverse. This is
the humbling.
This is him at the end of Midoriya's beginning.
This is the humbling of Bakugo. Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what he does from here on out. You know, of course, fucking love Bakugo, but he really needed this moment. And I feel like Horikoshi really hit the nail on the head with this one. It was really beautiful.
Agreed.
Yeah, this was a very well done chapter.
Yeah, can't wait for the next one. It was short too. It was like 16
but jam-packed.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
It was okay. It's a well done short chapter.
Yeah,
unlike the Bleach ones. You'll forever be the butt of our jokes.
Or Josh's at least.
Yeah, for sure, for me.
Anyway, shall we?
Do I have to read it again, bro? Is that what it is?
I would give it a shot. I'm reading it slowly. I'm not exactly at the Soul Society arc yet, but I'm getting there.
Oh shit.
I'm still I read it at a very, very slow pace. You know, if I've got nothing going on, I'll throw it on for a little bit.